And here's... All right, so YouTube says that I'm live, and I hope that people will be able to hear the both of us. I did like one tweet, and I probably should have sent it out to like a couple more places, but all I could manage right before was that one tweet. Are you in a gym right now? Okay. Cool. So the only thing that's bad about, well, I mean, I'm sure there's other things that people could criticize about my streaming setup, but the main thing that's bad is you won't be able to hear the sound. Hopefully other people who are watching will be able to hear the sound, but not you. But you can see my game. Cool. Excellent. Oh, someone says we can't hear BERV. Well, that's of peak importance. We have to be able to hear BERV. Oh no, this happened before too, and no, it should be all right. It's let me think. Okay, I'll hide. Let's see. I'll hide this one. This happened last time, and I was like, I'm gonna be more prepared next time, but no. Also, I have to keep in mind that I'm the only audible one. I see. Output device just needs to go to this one and this one. That should be okay. Can you speak up just so I can?
Hello.
Oh yeah, that's wonderful. That's great.
Yeah, you picking me up? Groovy.
Picking you up. You might actually be too loud. We'll see. All right, so maybe I'll just right click on your face and turn your volume down a little.
Yeah, sure. Testing. It's me. This is the voice of villainy.
All right. So now I haven't looked at the YouTube chat yet. Hello, YouTube chat. All right, cool. He was a bit loud, yes, but all right. So we actually do hear the game, which is good. And so just how are our relative voices, everyone in chat? How's the volume?
That's Drokin's volume. This is mine.
Cool. All right, and then I'll play the game a little bit. Just do a little jump. Is the game drowning us out at all? No responses. That's fine. I'm sure everything is perfect. So, welcome to the. Let's see. I called it the Cruel World Don't Blame BERV stream, and I don't actually know who's watching. I released this game, Cruel World, today, and you can only buy it until like noon tomorrow. That's the plan. It's going to be a 24-hour window, because after that window, everything is going to be broken and destroyed by players like BERV. Sorry, I hope it's okay to pan you on stream here. Yeah, so I don't have like a great plan here. Usually I just show off the game and talk about it a little bit, but do you want to introduce yourself or your relevance to the game?
Well, I guess I kind of stumbled into it today. I saw your tweet about the game. I thought the time-limited nature and the potential commentary on NFTs was compelling. So I took a jump, and then I started doing things in the game, and I may have done irreparable harm to the gamosphere.
So this is oh my god.
Oh.
Holy.
Oh.
That's I thought this was I thought you were on this list. I thought this is what Mike was talking about. Did you mine this first tutorial text? Oh my god.
I think so. Yeah. Is this the first room?
Yeah, it is. Maybe there's a bug or something. This is so many people. I didn't. Oh no.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Well, let's see. So just to give you a bit of explanation, if you're watching, basically, I described Cruel World as a mingle-player masocore platformer. So it's a really hard platformer where you die a lot, and when you have something like this, you want to save frequently, right? So the mingle player part and the Cruel World part is in order to save, you need to hack these terminals. And when you hack the terminals, you kind of have this option. You have this choice between, do I want to just have this terminal temporarily, or do I want to have it forever? And if you have it forever, then in the future, other players will find it increasingly difficult to hack that terminal. And there's a bunch of different types of terminals, and I will just, I'm just going to bring up, let's see, this one tweet by Mike Cook, which to me, like, it got at the themes of the game. So MTRC on Twitter, Mike Cook said, "This is great. I don't want to spoil too much except to say, if the player named BERV is reading this, who would want exclusive ownership over the tutorial text? What is wrong with you? It's because of people like you, the ice caps are melting." And so the full title of the game is, excuse me, is Cruel World, Blame Everybody Else. And so the fact that Mike jumped on this and was like, "Yep, I'm going to blame BERV for this horrible act," was perfectly on theme for me. I was just overjoyed that this had come out of this, this temporary mingle players, like multiplayer, single player. It's like single player with like a spice of multiplayer. So it's a single player game. You're not going to see other people in the world. But you will see the effects they have on the world. So here, this is the very first checkpoint in the game that I'm at, first cave. And so if I type save, actually, I might be on the owners list. Let's see. Nope. Cool. So unauthorized access. Type owners to see the list of all users with access. And if I type owners here, it shows all of these. Oh, there you are. Oh, Zepcap was first. And every single one of these names is a real person who went through the process of hacking the terminal, which I can show on stream, and then they said mine, which means they want to claim it permanently. So if I go hack, I'll go hack, let's say, I don't even know if I can get in, but, so if I go owners, and it shows the first one, so up at the top here is Zepcap. So if I go hack 100, the more player, I basically it's this sort of like hacking mini game that visualizes the hacking as combat against the owners of the terminal. And so the first person I'm going to have to fight is Zepcap, and then I will have to fight BERV. And there's like 12. There's so many people. This is, oh god, it says owner number 1 of 13. So I'm not going to go through the whole process because I don't want to. But you can see there. I fought Zepcap, and here I am fighting you, BERV. And I'm going to defeat you, and then I'm gonna quit. Oh boy. Oh man. Like when this game first started out, there was no one on this list, and now seeing this many people on it is just mind-boggling. I kind of lost my train of thought here. Just like, I don't know, that list of people really knocked my socks off. So yeah, you come to the first screen of the game, and the massacre part is like, if you touch the spikes, you're dead, and you always get reset to a checkpoint. So scattered around the game world, there's a ton of these checkpoints, and I really want to save here, because then if I die in these spikes, I won't have to go right back to the beginning. But now if I press save, it says, hey, you don't have access. So who owns it, and who am I going to have to fight in order to get access to this very first checkpoint? There's like 15 people.
So you're telling me here that if I hack but I don't mine, I get to save once?
Yes, and that's it's not really particularly clear by the game, but in short, yes.
Okay, I stumbled somewhat into my villainous position by entering into it, not fully understanding everything, and just starting to do stuff and see what happens. And I realize now that you are completely hamstrung by the knock-on consequences of my participation.
Yes, me and everyone else. And yeah, like I think you tweeted a little bit here. I'm gonna try to find your well, you're here. I don't need to go find your tweet for some reason. But you said you had like a kind of like a experience and like a revelation and thoughts about consumption.
Yeah, so there is that initial kind of onboarding process in any game where it's like, oh, what do my buttons do? How does the world work? And the linking of that to this effective like finiteness of the game's resources, saying, oh, if you participate in this, that introduces a certain point past which people won't be able to use this thing anymore. And so there's this tension from the outset of, okay, I don't want to have to redo these sections, which were kind of tricky, but at the same time, I don't want to make more of a mark than I, I have to,
Yeah.
right? It's like, surely you designed this game to be played, and if I'm going to play it or someone else is going to play it, what's the difference? But as I went through it and I kind of experienced more and more of it, and began to develop an understanding of the ownership system, it's like, oh well, I want to finish this and get the moral or immoral payoff as it may be, but I also don't want to. Like I wanted to see what was in store, but yeah, every save point was this this push and pull inside of me between, okay, that series of jumps was frustrating or finicky, or I don't know if I could pull that off again. So I'm just gonna try and like slide myself in here as discreetly as possible, not make a huge impact, and then I'll just keep going. But when Mike called me out indirectly, I mean directly,
Yeah.
but not with my tag on Twitter, and I saw it because I was looking at your tweets. I was like, oh, yep, there it is. I am facing the actual consequences of my actions in the real world. There it is, and it made me think a little bit about how the culture of games as designed is very much, here are obstacles that are put in your way for you to overcome, right? And this isn't true of all games, of course, but I think it's a fairly common trope. But yeah, here's a set of obstacles put in your way for you to overcome, and this game says, okay, sure, you can overcome that. Good job, but if you want to preserve that progress, you have to chip away at something, a sphere
Yeah.
of integrity
And
somewhere.
it's like to me, like I think the uncertainty of exactly what it is you're doing, like it kind of mirrors how I feel about a lot of environmental issues. It's like I recognize that the actions that humans are taking are causing some kind of harm, right? It's like, oh, there's plastic in the oceans. But I don't know exactly what that means, and like I don't think anyone really will ever know exactly what that means. But it's still like at like when what's the tipping point? Like when do you think like, okay, like yeah, like this is like actual damage that is being done to this system that like I just like outside of my comprehension.
Yeah, and there was this immediate guilt I felt when Mike said, "Oh, BERV is standing in my way now because of actions he's taken," and immediately my mind ran off, and I was like, "What if that fiendish Droken has actually linked this to some sort of like blockchain
Oh
activity,
God.
and I've just done a legitimately bad thing?" Uh, but then I realized that like that echo is largely the same. It's just not on a massive environmental scale in this case,
Yeah.
and still indirectly, but directly, I don't really know how to frame that. But affecting other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Taking something in a way that makes the way harder for everyone else going forward. Uh, yeah, it was this pretty pretty heavy meditation. And then if you extrapolate it further, it's like, oh, what is my consumption in playing this game on hardware that was constructed at a resource cost, and I'm consuming power to do it and send these signals to and from your server. It was kind of like, oh, what have I done?
Man, that
Should I have played this at all?
that
Should
sending
I
signals
play
to my
at
server
all?
was kind of like terrifying to me too. I was thinking about this, like, and I know that it's such a small amount, right? Like, but I came into this thinking fairly explicitly about the environmental impact of NFT and this kind of stuff. I know it's not the environment; it's NFT is like a small subset, but like, the environmental impact of cryptocurrencies. And there was some more. If you go to a there used to be a more explicit reference to it, but if you type owners, it says like non-fungible access. It used to have like a little bit more of a blurb that was it wasn't like explicitly calling out, like, but that's my tiny little nod to like, haha, this is this is you like getting to interact with like the kind of screwed upness that is that situation. And while I was designing it, I was like, oh no, like, when you're playing the little hacking mini game, that's your computer constantly churning away on these little like these stupid little problems, kind of just like cryptocurrency, except for it's not on as grand of a scale. Like, I'm not trying to churn your computer as hard as possible, but there is this weird kind of competition that of like seeing who can like literally who can burn the most computing power. It's called like proof of work. It's they're like one computer cycle or whatever is one vote. One unit of work is one vote. So literally the votes that you have when you're mining Bitcoin are how many resources are being consumed by your machines. And like this is part of the nature of Bitcoin. This is what was laid out in the white paper, and like, I don't know if anyway. I feel like I even read a little bit of it, and I was like, oh sure, like whatever. And when it first came out, or when it first kind of blew up a little bit, and Bitcoin was a thing, and now seeing all like the things people have been talking about the consumption of cryptocurrency, I'm like, oh, like it's bonkers that no one really thought about this or talked about it, or like I never heard about it, that there was a problem with this idea of what if we had a currency where you get more of it the more like just straight up resources you burn in a ceilingless arms race.
Well, it's just a mirror of capitalism in general, right? It's like, oh, is there something new that we can make profit off of?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but it comes at quite a cost. Yes, but I don't have to pay that cost.
Yeah.
So why shouldn't I? Right?
Oh, and I guess so. Here, well, there's also like a bunch in the chat that I will. Hello, chat. I'll get to you. Sorry, we're just in a conversation. I never know how to balance this, but hopefully I'll get better. I was inspired by Sylvie. Sylvie is in the chat. Sylvie made a game called Cute Jump, which is also kind of like I would describe as a masocore-ish platformer. I don't really know if I'm using the term correctly, honestly. It's a hard platformer, let's put it that way. And fairly early on, you come across these... let's see, how do I describe it? You have a challenge laid out before you, and let's say you're like, this is really hard. It's going to take me a little while to master it, and I'll have to try and like an uncertain number of times. And I think it's even in the second level. There's kind of a branch where there is a hard level, and then there's a much easier level where when you get to the end of it, there's like a 10% chance, or I think it's like a 90% chance that you will just die and have to do it again. So the hard path is just, can you do this? But you really are just like bashing your head against like a challenge, and then the other path is it's much easier to do, but there's this sort of artificial limitation on that's like imposed. I don't know how to explain it better than that, but I found it really revealing about the nature of this type of game. It's kind of all this weird arbitrary retry. Statistic difficulty scaling, And so I was so with this game, it's like, you know, the checkpoints are these kind of weird artificial valves on difficulty that you can choose to opt into or out of, and I just added the extra spice of also you're hurting everyone by doing it, rather than saying like rather than balancing your time against your time, you know, saying like, do you want to take the easy route or do you want to take the hard route that you could theoretically beat faster? I was like, well, do you want to take the hard route or the easy route that, and like, to be clear, I guess, like, by like the difference between easy and hard, it's like, it's pure time. It's just, are you spending more time of your time or less of your time? And then this is like, are you spending more of your time or are you spending more of someone else's time?
That's a really good way to put it. That hammers home the impact of my choices.
Yeah, it's quite a thing.
And to further boost that idea, it's I mean, there has to be a point of no return, right? Like, can you possibly win a 100 strength hack against 100 people?
Yeah, it's a very I kind of I embraced the like the way that Bitcoin works is you just kind of like try endlessly until you get like a certain number of zeros. Like it's like a hash thing, right? Like your computer, it's just, hey, your computer is going to try this thing over and over forever until you chance upon this very unlikely result. And so the design of the hacking minigame, let's see if I can is sort of, it's meant to be kind of gamey. Like you're supposed to be able to like feel like engaged in it, but it's also like it's a very it becomes more and more unlikely but still possible that you'll win you know, in like a huge against a huge number of opponents, and so like, you know, there's like a lucky hit that you can get. It's all totally random, so you could always you could get through 100 people, you get through 1,000 people. It's just a matter of how much of your time are you willing to spend trying endlessly in this like thing that other people have made horrible.
So when you're determining your hack strength, I see that increase as the latency also increases.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, is that literal latency in your connections, or is that a game mechanic?
That is just a game mechanic. There's a lot that I think I just kind of like picked a word that sounded related, right? That someone, when they see the word latency, they're like, oh, I get it. Like it's, the thing is taking longer. And like, it's not like the connection is something you kind of have to draw yourself. Like there's no like logical reason exactly. I was just like, you know, design wise, I was like, I would like a scaling E mechanism that says when you use a really big number, it takes longer and longer to charge up. But it was just kind of like, okay, it's taking longer and longer to charge up, but I don't. It felt like there was a lack of connection, so I just stuck a word in there, and I was like, now you can see not just the number charging up more slowly, but excuse me, but it says also the latency going up, and to me anyway, it's kind of like, yeah, oh, I get it. It's kind of like a bridge between the two concepts. Excuse me.
So this faulty assumption that I and some other people I saw were under, that a lower hack value would leave less of a weight on that thing for other people, was actually trying to get by investing as little as possible into that mining attempt.
Yeah, and that was, I guess I could say, my bad. I just didn't expect. It just didn't even occur to me. I wasn't like, I wasn't thinking, okay, someone's going to come into this thinking about this number. These numbers being correlated, and now seeing so many people think, so just to explain, like while I was hacking, people have like a certain amount of kind of health points, And a lot of people were under the assumption that your hack number, so if I did hack 99, that 99 would be your health number when you mined and you joined the owners. That is not the case. I'll let you in on a secret. It's actually 5 times the number of letters in your name. So you being BERV is pretty good. Whereas like Tom Smizzle and Rudderless both have 50 hit points. Those they're Tom Smizzle's everywhere too. Why didn't Mike call out Tom Smizzle? Let's see. So if I save owners, all right. So I guess wow, yeah, Ficinescu is the first person here, and that's a long name. Everyone's like, oh, when they realize.
I think that just reinforces the kind of stumbling blindly and not really investigating the consequences.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, oh, well, this is my name. It's 12 characters long, and I'm going to play this game, and I'm going to do things.
Yeah, right. You don't quite know the impacts of your actions. Again, it's just this like weird layer of like I'm interacting with the system in a way that I assume is fine. And I think a lot of this is like, you want to assume it's fine. The game is giving you like, it's like, hey, like you want to do this thing because it makes the game less hard, and you want that. You don't want to spend all your time waiting to, like, dying and having to start from the beginning. So because it aligns with your values and needs, you're more open to just being like, it's fine as long as I do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, all right, there's a chat. I feel like I should just like quickly bring some of the questions up from the chat. I really like this one interaction here. Manuel Irarazabal, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, asks, is there a way to see all the good people who decided not to claim it as their own? And AOE Dot, who is John Malloy, who will be featured in the secret update that will happen probably after the game is no longer for sale. He said, no, the good people never get noted by history, which I love. It's such a perfect take on the theme there. It felt like more relevant, right? Like in practice, the system doesn't really care. The only actions you can take are to be harmless or harmful, and when you're harmless, there's nothing to be noted. Like it would feel good, someone to look and be like, oh, it's there's 100 people who did the right thing, and there's only these 7 people who did the wrong thing. But I feel like potentially irrelevant to the game's message.
And so the fact that you specifically memorialized me in an info terminal means that I've left an even heavier mark than even my engagement with the mechanics.
I was totally gonna find your memorial, but there is no way. Look at all these people on this door.
So effectively, if you wanted to get to the end, you would have to single run like from the beginning now.
So Sylvie was saying, and I agree with this. Where is it? If there's a resting feature when you hack, which is again like it's just something that's not really communicated. But if you experiment with the hacking, you'll kind of like feel it out. But the way it works is when your health gets low enough after a battle, you'll kind of like recharge back up to full. So you don't actually need, for the most part, to you don't need like a 9,000 power to beat 9,000 people. 100 will often be good enough, but there is still like just kind of this slim chance of failure every step of the way. It's enough that it's if extended over a list of 20, 30, 40 people, you're spending more time, and for each owner you're trying to hack your way past, it's just a little bit more of a time cost and a little bit more of a chance that you'll fail. And it's just like, well, do I want to risk having to go through all these people again? And it's scary. When I was kind of expecting, I was like, maybe it'll reach like 5 or 8 people, right? And then people who are hacking past them will be like, oh, like I get it. This is horrible. Why would I inflict this upon other people? But no, it's just getting worse.
And yeah, the indefensibility of my ignorance. It's I didn't run up against the heavy frictions that people are encountering today because I played it early.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought, oh, okay, this isn't so bad. Yeah. Okay. Great. Oh, there's two people here. Okay. Well, that went rather quickly, and that's not a problem. But really, the lack of foresight in being another drop in the bucket that would become a flood
Is quite serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really, yeah. And like now you can come back to this game and a lot is very accessible to you. I considered, because, so this was made for the games that shouldn't be games jam. And one of the requirements, I guess, is you sell the game for one day and then after April Fool's Day, you stop selling it. And so I thought about calling this game like Frontier Edition. Like I've seen games for sure say like, "Oh, this is the Frontier Edition," because I was thinking that this dynamic would be a thing, and like it's kind of, I don't know, like it's kind of like heavy and weird knowing that there are some people who can come to this game and because of their selfish actions, they can play the game in a way that's like significantly more pleasant than the experiences that other players are going to be having. And the only reason that they are going to have those advantages is because, like, I don't know, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, like the game largely remains the same as the first time I played it, except now if I use the same checkpoints, I don't have to hack anything. Like, I got in early, I made my minimal investment, and now it's just smooth sailing, which is like, oh, that mirrors some real world sorts of things.
Oh god, I died and went back so far, because, well, I guess it's not actually that bad, because I hacked my way into that. So I'm just gonna try to get to like the big room of doors. That's what I want to do. I just want to show that because I think I could at least be like, you know, here is where where BERV's memorial is. And I guess I'll talk about like how did you like the controls? Like I feel like I really like them. They were like really fun, and I like the sound effects. Just while I'm playing it, we can take like a short break from the heaviness of all the world is over themes.
Yeah, well, that's a whole thing on its own. Like, if the game was only a chore, like if the mechanics of jumping around weren't fun at all, this would be a totally different conversation because I wouldn't feel compelled to continue ahead and keep trying and feel like, oh, he's put this just out of my reach, or this is just hard enough that I want to find a save point or whatever else. But platforming wise, I thought this was actually really neat and kind of explorative in discovering the particularities of movement. It was it really it mapped well onto the explorative aspect of the whole experience. Cool. It was I was feeling out the physicality as much as I was feeling out the the weight of my hacking.
Cool. Yeah, and so this is the room that I wanted to get to. So you can see, so I'm jumping here, and up above there's like a little door with a big door with a crown on it, and to its and so you were the very first person, BERV, to message me. A few people messaged like kind of shortly after, but I thought it was just like this perfect like poignant like you were feeling like you had like a debt to society here, not society, but you know. And so then you perfectly repaid it while also feeling like the guilt, like at that very moment. And so up there, if for anyone watching, I will not get there because there's so much that stands in my way. But up above, there's a little info terminal, and that info terminal is just like a little shrine that I added to the game. I fixed the door because of BERV saying, "Hey, is it supposed to be like this?" And it contains just like a short message from BERV about I guess about like your experience or like what you learned from your experience.
Yeah. Well, the fact that I couldn't progress through the crown door, which felt like okay, that's an obvious goal from the beginning. It feels like we're coming to an end. And when I tried to open it, it said, "Oh well, you're not an owner." So I hacked it at great cost to future generations, and then tried to open it and got an error saying that the map couldn't be found. And in a way, that felt like okay, this is my fitting punishment for consuming my way to this point, right? Like there is nothing at the end. There is only the destruction you've wrought in getting there.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt kind of sobering and like, oh wow, yeah, that's a thing. But I also wondered, that does seem like a potential error message. Maybe I'll let you know. And it was indeed an error message thrown by a misconnection. So you said, "Oh, I'll fix it and memorialize you." And because of all the reflection that this had triggered, I was like, "Oh, I want to apologize." Like, I don't know that I could justify everything I've done. So I just tried to express some remorse, knowing that the people who I want to express it most deeply to will never see that message.
Oh yeah, I think that your message says something like, if you read this, like I'm sorry to you, and if you don't read this, I'm doubly sorry. And it's like it's funny you can't it's an apology to people that will never see it.
So is that my fault or yours?
So that's part of I think one of the themes that I want to kind of explore. I don't know, like not through the game, but outside the game is like I called the game "Cruel World, Blame Everybody Else." I think that's the name. "Cruel World, Blame Everybody Else," and like I designed this system. I've stacked the deck against all the players here. Like I'm pulling the strings. It's not your fault. It's my fault. But I've set up the system to make it so that it's easy to point the finger at each other. And what I think is really fascinating here is that we live in systems, like real world systems, and I think it's a lot easier to point the finger at here's a list of people, right? And it's these people's fault. Like that's the messaging the game is sending. But I'm the one who made the thing that even like gives meaning to the statement. It's these people's fault. And I guess I think it's really hard to really put this into words, and I'm still trying to figure it out. But it's like the whole. I guess what I want to get at here is just there are systems in place, like in the world, and sometimes it feels like a person is at fault, and it's easier to say it's your fault, right? Like when Mike Cook is like, "BERV, what's wrong with you? You're the reason the ice caps are melting," and I think it's just like I think that's a very dangerous way of looking at things, to say, okay, here's a bad thing that's happening. Immediately, who is the person who's done the bad thing to cause the bad thing to happen? Because it happened within a system, within a framework. Like a person did, I'm just kind of like rambling on the same point over and over again. And so like, I'm to blame. Don't blame BERV. Blame me for stacking the deck against everyone in it.
And then go even further up the chain from there and blame society, blame capitalism for like encouraging that kind of stacking, right? If we're extending the metaphor to crypto, then it's like, oh, don't blame the investors, blame the inventor. Don't blame the inventor, blame the culture of innovation and tech startups. Blame the entire economic system, blame the culture of Western development, and it's I don't know where the buck stops.
someone in chat said, so it's Satoshi Nakamoto's fault. So they're climbing your chain of blame along with us here. And yeah, like it's again, like, so I said, like, I don't know how to talk about this. Like, I don't know who to blame. I'm not saying that going up that chain will give you the right answer, or that, like, you should never hold anyone responsible or anything like that. Just that, man, it's complicated. Blame everybody. Yeah, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have better words than just, it's like a huge complicated mess.
I think you've made a really effective focus to ask these questions around. Like the journey I went on of oh, hey, I'm exploring, I'm discovering, okay, I think maybe this is coming at some cost, but I want to keep going, I'm going to keep doing this, and then finally realizing at the end of the run what I'd done, like, wow, what a great arc, and then trying to offer up a feeble apology that won't even reach the people who it's intended for, right? It was this lovely narrative experience, and I was chatting with you privately about how, well, okay, now the door's open and there's things inside that I could potentially claim ownership of, but I'm not going to, because I think this is where BERV turns back. This is where BERV says, no, I've made a mistake, and goes home and cries. So the real poetry of the thing, though, and it's a shame that it is what it is, but that's also the beauty of it, is that no one else can have that arc, right? Like, that's expired, it's over, it's consumed.
Yeah.
And yeah, sorry everybody. I had a pretty cool day, but that was only mine, and you are doomed to a different day.
Probably a worse one.
Yeah, probably. I mean, if you choose to get to the end of this, it's going to cost you a lot more than it did me.
Yeah. And I guess, and the speedrun community. Someone mentioned the speedrun community. I would love to see a speedrun of this game, and I don't even know what a speedrun of this game would look like, because I don't know if, like, no matter what approach you take, there's always kind of gonna be a wrong answer. Like, someone's gonna come out on top. Either you make everyone start out with a fresh save, and then it will always be a little bit harder because as people are mining things, or you let someone do a speed run with all the nodes they've mined, in which case there's just a gross inequality there.
Well, I think that serves your messaging pretty well. I don't think I'll be the person to speed run it, but if that's that opportunity, the opportunity for me to make that choice is that early adopter privilege again, right? It's like that just continues to pay dividends. I have more opportunity and an easier path forever.
And yeah, like I guess the frontier metaphor again is kind of like there was this land with plentiful natural resources. Like even though other people had staked some claims, and it was a little bit of an obstacle to you, a little bit of an inconvenience, it was still like, this is kind of like a fun world where I'm free to advance and do things freely. And it's, I don't know, there's just such a fascinating dynamic of naivete there. Naivete? I don't know how to pronounce that word. I really don't want to say naiveness. Anyway.
Yeah, I'd like to say conceptually, I understand, like, okay, this is what it means to come to a place that's rich in resources and take what I want and stomp all over it. It's like, oh, I can recognize that that's a bad thing, that's inconsiderate. And then, I mean, I don't want to absolve myself here, but because this is presented as a video game, it's like my context for approaching it is different, right? I'm saying, oh, this is exactly that. This is a land to be consumed, to be experienced, and I'll step on the Goombas along the way, right? Which I think for me was a really effective way to cast me into that role of what do I want to say, like inconsiderate naivete, to be be really generous with the terminology. Yeah, but it's like, oh, this is what it is to be somebody who is not considerate, does not take light steps, and I guess that is me, and that's worthy of reflection for sure.
I think part of it is, for me, part of it is it's everyone. I think like the blame everybody else subtitle is kind of like it's this. It's intentionally poking you to take the wrong stance in my eyes. Like I think that the assigning blame like this is not really gonna get us anywhere. It's much more important to look at the context in which people make decisions, and I don't know. Like again, like I keep coming back. Like I want to say something, but I don't know what it is or how to say it. I guess what I want to say is I think it's the wrong stance to look at this situation and say, look at what BERV did. He's bad. We're suffering because of what BERV did. Because while true, it's also not a way to solve anything. Like if you hadn't existed and you hadn't played the game, it would still be in this position. There's a difference between what a collective group does and what an individual does, and it's just like it's a different sort of blame. Like you can predict, you can push, you can massage the actions of a large group of people. There's such statistics at play with large numbers of human beings. If BERV wasn't to blame, it would just be someone else. And pointing the finger at a single human being isn't going to get anyone anywhere. Somebody will always be BERV. BERV is inevitable.
Oh God, I am the end point of of consumptive behavior.
Yeah. Sorry, you're a meme now. BERV is now just anyone who's taking a selfish action within a system.
Okay, well, if that's how I will be memorialized, then so be it.
Oh God, I died, but luckily I took the time to hack this. Actually, as you get later in the game, things become a lot more tolerable. This is like 6 owners. That's not so bad. So maybe if you're watching this and you're thinking of getting Cruel World, but you've been dissuaded by the number of people who have cluttered and clogged the earlier nodes, you can look forward to laboring through the first part of the game, because once you get to the mid game, it's not so bad. Well, no. Maybe I will get to your memorial before this.
Yeah, until you get to the last floor.
I do have to go at 8, so I've got about 11 minutes. We'll see. Okay, can I... Oh, so scary. Okay, good. I got the key. See in chat, magazine
Yeah,
says,
you might be able to do it.
Yeah, right. Like it's not so far, and I know the secret behind a skip. Oh, good. Oh, jeez. Okay. Unlock. I like what Mergazzini's saying in the chat. I feel like that's what happens when big ass companies can do things like make the customers bring their own bags. And I'm thinking also about the war against plastic straws, as if one person not using a plastic straw is the thing that's going to save the world. It puts the blame on common people when the big companies could do so much more. No.
I really like that set of 3 doors you have there that all go to the same place. Just as like a little hacking split. I chose the one I did because it had the fewest owners, right?
Yeah. And I think it sort of offers like a lot of the rest of the game. It offers an excuse to take that selfish action, because once you realize there's three doors, it's now no longer like, oh, I'm denying other people access, because you're like, oh, I'm making a third of the environmental impact that I would be having in other parts of the game. Oh, I'm gonna have like, oh, geez, look at this. Oh, this is very. Wait, did Stippen hack all of them? No. Okay, good. Oh, here you are. This is BERV's door. All right, so let's see if I can.
Yeah, no, that's my door.
Yeah.
Whoever first hacks all of those, that's the real villain.
Yeah. I think I saw Stippen twice, but now I'm hacking, so I can't check. It's nice to know the man BERV is rather. It's nice to know who the man BERV is rather than the symbol he will be. Wait, is D-Hippo really owning everything? Oh my god. D-Hippo's on every door. D-Hippo's the real monster. If you're here, D-Hippo, I want you to know. We know you're the real monster. Yeah, so it's...
and the... I was just gonna say the possibility that you, as the game designer, made all 3 of those doors look like they go to the same room, but I can't know for sure until I hack all of them. Maybe there's a justification.
I actually thought about having a secret, but I won't reveal whether there is one or not. They totally look exactly like they all go to the same room, though, which is perfect. Here we are, just watching me. Oh, am I gonna lose? Okay, good. I got a lucky hit. It's scary, like investing that much time and then being like, let's see, do I want to be an owner? No, I don't want to be a monster. Open. I don't want to be a monster, he says to BERV while talking about how it's not like a immoral. Complicated. Oh, jeez. Can I be an owner here? Oh boy. Do I want to hack this, or do I want to just give it a shot?
Here I am, safely removed from your wrath and the wrath of your chat through lockdown separation.
Yes, and here you are, BERV, right at the top of the of the checkpoint that I want to use. Let's see. So, as I understand it, yes. Okay, I actually want to go the other way, though.
Ooh, very fancy.
I didn't know this was... Oh, no!
Yeah, that's yours.
All right. I think I can do it, though. I think. Oof. Just...
Ooh,
I'm losing my touch. All right, let's go. Okay. it's a really good thing that
Man,
one is happening.
the movement mechanics are so nuanced, and there's so much trickiness to them. Like, legit, this would be very interesting to see speedrunners break.
Yeah, I would really love to see that. The problem is it's a very I feel like it has a lot going against it too in terms of being speedrunnable. So maybe I don't know, maybe I'll do a different set of levels or something, one that is not burdened with the cruelty of the world. Oh, someone in the chat says, watching this has let me know that you can roll, which is helpful. Free info I didn't have to hack or mine for. And yeah, there's some very useful information in these information terminals. And really, once you hack them, there's no reason to mine them, but people mined them anyways from some combination of innocence, I'm sure. Innocent naivete, thinking they had to, and that's part of the game. Culture should always be free. Okay. Okay. All right. Now it should be trivial-ish from here. Oh, okay. Yes. And here is I called this node BERV. Read. I can't read it. Who has read your apology here? Oh, that's not so many. Tom Smizzle in the chat. Why did you de-hippo this terminal, Tom? Oh yeah, so Oh, I lost my connection. Am I still streaming even? Huh. Hey BERV, was that me or you?
I'm pretty sure that's me.
Okay.
I'm on rural internet. So.
Okay, cool. Oh, I have to hang up very soon. I have a thing scheduled for 8 o'clock, so I guess now we're forced to wrap up fairly quickly. I did want to mention the DLC. So there's some bonus levels, and I don't know if you noticed the little ghost tips that say, hey, there's going to be something here on April 2nd. But knowing that information now, will you go back to check out the DLC tomorrow from your privileged position?
Well, given that I have a privileged position in accessing it, I mean, I'd be a fool not to.
That's right. You would be.
I mean, does the DLC also afford me a way to burn it down?
Yes, the DLC will also contain, all the trappings of this game. It'll have all those. It'll have all the doors and the checkpoints that you can either hack or mine. It's up to you.
Well, I will absolutely approach that, but with a different perspective. I'll see if I can navigate it without causing so much harm this time.
Good man. So I feel like the timing could not be better. This is like I'm gonna unlock this node. And
oh yeah, fantastic!
I'll get to read the message, and it's gonna be awesome. Tom Smizzle says, "I love the terminals that have incorrect information in the preview text, and also I de-hippoed everything at the end to show off." Tom, I don't know what to say. You're no BERV. Wait, I guess BERV's a good thing now.
If we can take anything away from this, it's that BERV is more complex than a single concept.
That's right. So how does it feel being an icon for the complexities of selfishness and not selfishness?
I mean, it feels fitting. We're all trying, and we're all causing harm, and it affects everyone else around us. It's very, very real.
Yeah, I'd really like to make more games like this, where people can affect each other. I don't know how much more to. I feel like it's a very broad theme. All right, so I'm reading. I guess I'll read it. Do you want to read your part when I get to it?
Oh, sure.
So this node is called BERV, And when you read it, the full post says, "The big door was broken." That's the name of this door with the crown on it. The big door was broken. BERV pointed this out, and thanks to his efforts, the big door has been repaired. I asked if he would like to say a few words.
There is no going back. If you made it this far, I am sorry. This applies doubly if you did not.
Thanks so much for streaming with me. I'm
A pleasure.
gonna kill the stream now. Yeah, it was great talking with you, and hopefully we can see each other in the real world sometime when things are less, destroyed due to the selfishness of people in real life.
Yeah, if the BERVs out there don't figure it out,
Yeah.
and burn it all down before then. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna click the end stream button.
Bye-bye.